Hey fellow Vault Dwellers, it's Angry Turtle, and today I have for you a quick overview with latest info released on the QuakeCon as well as released in the patch notes for public test server. A lot of confirmations, a lot of things we've been waiting for is in here. So, if you want to watch the entire thing from the QuakeCon, I will post a link in the pinned comment as I'm only taking the most important parts like a recap. I will not play entire thing as it's about an hour. So let's dive in. First, they will be talking about legendary crafting systems. So basically for me, it's confirmation it's coming with next patch.
Why?
Why?
Well, as John said earlier, it's about getting a little bit less of the RNG system that we spend time going to events. We spend time doing crafting to try to get these legendary weapons. And again, it's a lot of RNG in that system inherently. So this will allow players to not only acquire those the same way they acquired them before, but be able to now scrap those weapons in an effort to either get a loose mod or learn the recipe for that legendary effect, and then to be able to apply it to the other weapons that they've acquired along the way.
Yeah. So like kind of right now what you're seeing on screen is somebody attaching a new mod to their 3-star weapon, right?
Correct. And each of these mods has a different set of, I guess.
I should probably mention here that the cost you can see legendary script that was already adjusted down. So they were recording this part on the previous iteration of public test server. After this segment, I will show you the notes for the latest iteration.
Requirements for it, so it won't just be script, it won't just be legendary mods. There are other effects on there that require some bobbleheads and things like that. So we're actually mixing it up quite a bit to make more use of some of those items in the game that people have been hoarding for a long time, but also make them more available to players as we go forward too.
Yeah. So John, Bill said it's about making sure that players' items that they've collected for a long time have use beyond just kind of what their initial plan was. Could you speak a little bit more to that?
Sure, yeah. So now players can scrap their legendary weapons, armor, and power armor, right? So I know a lot of players will kind of sit on huge stacks of those for a while because they've already hit their script limit. However, now you're incentivized to scrap those because every time you scrap one of those pieces of gear, you have a really small chance to learn how to make one of the legendary mods on that weapon. So whichever one of you learns how to craft the bloodied mod first, it's like you're going to be swimming in caps, I'm sure. But that's another beautiful thing about this system is it sort of opens up a whole new economy for players too.
So basically they confirm here that it's intended for the chance to be very small that you learn something. Now quickly the notes. As you can see, that's the latest iteration. So they change material cost use crafting legendary mod boxes. So mod box will be now 15 legendary modules per mod box, plus this additional varying material. It can be scrap, it can be bubblehead, magazine, it can be serum, and any of those can be used, depend on legendary mod. And as well, it's looked like now attaching the mod itself costs just 10 script. Simultaneously, script limit is being raised to 11k, so I don't think you will run short on script. So you need like 10 to attach the mod. They fix the named weapons. They can be legendary crafted now. So they can be legendary crafted, which is an awesome news, as there was very confusing info. Some people were claiming they are removing it intentionally. They not. It stays. It will be legendary craftable, so that's very good. As well, legendary module weight, again, not specified, but it was cut down to 0.15 pound per one legendary module. Doesn't matter very much for Fallout First users, as it will be classified as scrap and will be stored in scrap box. Then they did a various adjustments. One of those, Gauss shotgun, they nerfed it previously, so now they're giving it extra power. Is it enough? I didn't have time to test it just yet, as well as Strangler Heart. Those doesn't seem so far to be very significant, but I will be testing it more and I will go back to you with that in a separate dedicated video after I will have more information. So you can see a lot of balance changes to combat as well is happening. Caravans, different topic. I need to cover them in separate video as well. But they fix Caravans bugs, so the patch now seems in much better shape. Most likely ready for the release in 3 weeks.
And the players can sell or they can trade mods to other players. And it also opens up the possibility of, in future seasons or even in various events in the game, for players to earn specific mods to those events, which is really cool. We've never been able to do that before. So super excited about this system.
And here they're moving to next topic. Very important as well, but we'll just slightly touch it.
We have combat rebalance. Now, I hinted at this a little bit earlier, that it started off in Skyline Valley, but it continues now in Milepost Zero. So kind of either Bill, John, one of you, tell us, where did this desire for combat rebalance kind of take place?
I mean, honestly, this is something that we've been wanting to do for a really long time. You know, ever since the launch of the game, you know, we've had perks and mutations. Now there's legendary perks, and there's more legendary mods, you know, for the weapons. We have weapons that have special effects on their own. It needs a balance. Like, we need to go back through all of that and make sure that we've got good balance between all the weapons that are being delivered. And also, for a lot of the new players that have been coming in, a lot of the curves for a lot of our creatures within the world, cave crickets, for example. If you're, you know, below 50 and you run into one, you're dead.
I
you know,
hate cave crickets.
Those cave crickets are opportunistic punks.
Punks is the word that we're going with.
Yeah, so we've gone through and actually adjusted all of the creatures to be a much more smoother leveling experience, especially for a lot of our newer players. And when we talk about rebalance, yes, some people kind of take that as more like we're nerfing certain things. We don't want to do that at all. That is not the goal of this at all. We believe that players in our game have a power fantasy that they like to engage in, go around, get the best stuff, kill a lot of crap. And we don't want to touch that at all. So John can tell you, and even our system designers can tell you, that anytime someone even approaches the idea of like, I want to nerf this, it's like, no.
So good that they mentioned that, but really, we know they are implementing nerfs. Railway, to be mentioned, they don't like to use this word. And they don't do a lot of nerfs, that's true. But Railway, Gauss Shotgun, I'm not currently sure they nerf it. Now they're rebuffing it a little. So we will see. But yeah, there's definitely a nerf coming to some things. I understand, though, why they really don't like to use this particular word. But let me continue with this video. They will slightly explain, kind of.
Like, we have a type of game that people like to engage with, and that's what we're sticking with. So a lot of this is really fixing just underlying elements that we feel are just broken, you know, that we want to try to fix. So, and I think we've done that pretty successfully, especially with a lot of the curve table work we've done recently.
Something a lot of our PTS players have noticed, of course, is with the combat rebalancing and the damage over time rebalancing, is that combat's become a bit more kind of snappy, and you have much more visibility on what's going on when things are taking damage over time. So again, going back to legendary crafting, being able to be communicated to what's happening as you're fighting, I think will encourage players to experiment and try different types of builds and play styles as well.
And also on the dot discussion, we've also made some changes to fire and poison, for example. So now fire does a lot of damage in a short period of time, and then poison does a lot of damage also, but over a longer period of time. So it's going to depend on whatever creature or whatever boss, you know, fight you're going into, but you can use that effectively now. So that there's some specialty between the effects that you decide to use on your weapons.
That's something I really like, that they are working on a little bit more options for combat, what we can choose. Still, full health builds, they need to take a look on that. And those dot effects not all yet work as intended. I hope it's work in progress and more will be done.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I think the community sometimes makes the mistake of thinking that you're targeting specific items or play styles without realizing that there's a long-term underlying problem that you're trying to fix.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, basically we want all of those weapons that you potentially get, all the armor that you potentially get, as well as the effects that you potentially get to be useful. We want players to use more than maybe bloodied, anti-armor, vampires, you know, get into the other ones and make them actually more useful in the game. And that's kind of what this rebalance also tries to tackle.
That's what they said here, I really like. make other effects useful rather than nerfing existing effect. That would be perfect. We'll see. Time will tell what they will do. Now we are going to the next topic.
On over to our next topic. Next up, we have the best builds, and we do have a video for this too. What is best builds?
So, the majority of our players are avid builders. Is that right, Ken?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Huge builders.
So Best Builds is a great push forward to support our builders. If you're in the game and you've got an awesome camp and you're like, I want the world to see, you can submit it as a best build. So you provide your picture, you provide your description, and then in the game on the mini map, it's marked as a best build. So players that go to your best build camp will know it's a best build. And when they're there, if they think it's awesome, they can give you a good old-fashioned thumbs up. And the best build camps that get the most thumbs up get featured on various servers across Appalachia.
I'm really excited as well to see those camps, not as much build as not good with that. Simultaneously, unfortunately for now, what they mentioned further, there is no cross-platform, so you will only see the ones that are from your platform. So PC will see PC camps, PlayStation will see PlayStation camps, at least for now. And now I just handpicked for Q&A section the parts that give us a lot of insight into the future of Fallout 76.
That people ask. So Starfield is a huge leap forward engine-wise, and we're coming up now on 6 years of 76. Would there ever be a possibility at some point in the future of a next-gen update or a graphics refresh?
So we've discussed, I mean, that's come up in discussions here and there over the years. I wouldn't say that there is a concrete plan to do that. What we do make a point of doing is each patch improving something, right? So we've improved the water shaders. We've improved the glass shaders. We've got a patch coming up. Lava. We've got a patch coming up soon after Milepost 0 where we actually introduce a lot of rendering and shader upgrades. People are going to notice, be like, wow, this is cool. So we are mindful of making very measured steps, measured improvements along the way.
We know now there will be no big next-gen update. There will be a lot of small updates pushing the game forward. How well will that work? I hope well. We'll see. And now, very important, are we getting 4 and 5-star legendaries?
Sweet. Going back a little bit, we talked a little bit about balancing. So 4 and 5-star legendaries, we talked about that a long time ago and then stopped. Was the reason that was maybe dropped or postponed is because of balancing issues and just kind of like you're throwing gasoline on a fire?
There's 3 or 4 things that kind of factor into that. One, timing. Yep. At that time, we didn't have enough systems in the game or enough events to really kind of feed into that system as well as we wanted it to. Also, the workbench UI and the flow did not work as well as we wanted it to work, so we wanted to go back to the drawing board on that. And then ultimately, we had a number of mods that we had created during that time frame that we just didn't feel were legendary enough. And so it was just kind of like we tabled it, said, hey, let's come back to this when we actually have a lot more utility in the game or a lot more events and a lot more things that we can make this system actually work into. So yeah.
So that mean we may see them down the road?
Who knows?
Who here has beaten the Scorch Beast Queen? Show your hands. All right. Who here's taken down Earl? Who's done both? And lived to tell the tale. That's amazing. It sounds like you need harder challenges.
No.
And so the idea of expanding that power that players have is certainly something that we talk about every day. Stay tuned.
So basically they hinted we are getting something. Will it be 4 or 5-star legendaries or something else? We don't know, but something to increase the power, as well as more challenge in the game. They will show, of course, a little bit more in a moment. There was as well a question about PvP, but I will give you a shortcut. No PvP is coming. There is no PvP future of Fallout 76. That was basically the answer. As well, to just make this video a little bit shorter, they are talking about future of the content and said that another map expansions are probable. So maybe, I don't know when, but maybe we'll get another full map expansion. And here is a very good input, so I will let it play.
before that when we were
Answer.
talking.
You want me to go? Okay. So choices that make larger, more impactful decisions. Yes. So we have noticed that, if we come out with a big quest line, it's a large quest arc and it has the different choices you can make through it. A lot of these quests are so intertwined with one another that in an online environment, it makes it very hard to make those types of meaningful choices. We've discussed different types of mission formats, quest formats, which would give players the agency to make more impactful choices. So we don't have any information to share on that today, but it has been discussed and it is something that we're going to do. Absolutely.
So I'm really happy they said it's something we are gonna do. So we'll get more impactful choices. Just not yet, not this year. And here they're talking about something going on in the ash heap, and we have a little bit of a snippet. And just so you know, I'm not kidding, official date for season 18 is announced in here.
It means for everybody who wants to prepare before the season ends, you have until September 3rd, and that's when season 17 will wrap up, because we'll be starting a whole new season, with a whole new update, and a whole bunch of new gameplay.
So that's official confirmation. Caravan update, legendary crafting coming September 3rd. And here they will finish with a joke.
We really appreciate it, right, guys?
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming out today.
Whoa.
What do you mean?
Wait a minute.
What are you doing?
Well, hold on. We're not done.
What are you talking
We've
about?
got one more thing.
What do you mean we have one more thing, John?
So listen, we've talked about Milepost Zero, right? The update coming out soon. We know playable ghouls are returning, coming out early next year. You want me to get on with it, don't you? So what's coming in between? There's got to be something. Fellow adventurers, I want you to get those pit boys out, just like this. Get those pit boys out, because the wasteland hasn't seen anything this hot since the bombs dropped. Here's a sneak peek at the update coming out this December. The Gleaming Depths. Depths.
So this is update that's coming in December. I wasn't expecting another big update, one after another. The future looks good. Look at that update. Look at those new undergrounds of the ash heap. Is that what it will be? Ash heap undergrounds. Let me pause a little bit. The new caves, the new areas. This is a very quick trailer. That's why I want to stop a little. Look at the enemies. New enemies. It does kind of look like a sentry bot, but more like a stationary one that is attached in here. So that's something kind of new in this moment. And of course, small miners, but those seems to be wearing a little bit different colors. I may be wrong. Maybe that's just the lighting. But we have some mole miners. So of course, and look at this creature. That's the latest creature that we have in here. The new snake-looking creature. Look at that. Look at this angry face. Most likely that's the new, tougher boss and dungeon that they were talking about. Fallout 76, the future is bright. And this will be everything for today's video. If you need to watch a whole interview, link I will pin the comment with the link to the QuakeCon Day 2. If you have any questions, feel free to use the comment section. And that being said, thank you all for watching and see you all in the next one.